We're going to talk about the 3-year-olds now. I've done a number of videos over the last 2 weeks talking about who's a keeper, who's on the list, who's going, where they're going. Let's start with Ale Sun. She's racing in the condition claimer this week in the Meadows. I think that's a good spot for her. If they grab her, they grab her. If they don't, they don't. She'll do some damage in those classes for sure. Arctic Force, another horse kind of in between classes. Probably going to shop him around over the next week or two. Not probably. I am shopping him around actively. We'll see what happens there over the next week or two. Beach Boutique is back going now in the Meadows. Should be ready to go in 2-3 weeks maybe. Bottle of Red, very consistent filly to hit the board. Very inconsistent filly to hit the winner's circle. Hopefully she can win this week from the rail, and that should seal the deal on a sale for her. Cabernet raced awesome last night. Now she is going to approach her saturation point, so to speak. She will be approaching that very soon. Another 6,000, and we got a problem with her. So probably another win or two, and then we'll probably move her into the open market also and see if somebody wants her. Canadian Titan will start back. She's in the field now. She was stall rested. She's in the field now. She'll start back in another 3 weeks. Before we start her up, I want to have her up to the vet clinic to see how those knees look. I suspect they look fine. Capistrano, I talked to you guys about that. Might race her a little bit, but ultimately we want to have her in the breeding shed this spring. Compass Rose DC, she's safe. I think this is going to be a killer at 4. Can't wait to finish off her season, give her some time off, and bring her back at 4. I think we're going to have a very nice filly. Much like we did with the Colts, I don't even mind racing her into February, giving her March, April off, and then we have her ready for the end of her, towards the fall of her 4-year-old season. That's the plan for me anyway for Compass Rose DC. Don't believe me, just watch. We'll probably move back into a condition claimer setting this week. He has had a lot of luck in the condition claimer scene. By a lot of luck, I mean he's raced once and he won once, so can't get much more lucky than that. So we'll see how he races this week. Globe Trotting will race in the Pegasus, hopefully, in the Matron, and then off. 4 months I want this filly off for. I think if we can bring this filly back sound, this is another filly. I could be talked into sending her to Florida. So we'll see. This filly may end up in Florida for the winter. I think this is going to be an extremely good 4-year-old for us. This filly has never drew a perfect breath all year. Always had a problem. Pus pocket, a knee bothering her, a little bit sick, tied up. And it's not a bad luck. She still pushed through, powered through, and did well. But just never had a race where I said she was perfect. I thought she was coming into the final good. It ended up that her liver count was up high. She had the 9-hole and didn't race well. Then she was fine for a couple of starts after. Her liver jumped again. She raced poorly for Dave Miller. We got her liver count back down again good. You might say, well, what's causing it? Sherlock Holmes couldn't tell you what's causing it. You will pull your hair out trying to figure out why a horse's liver count might jump. All you can do is treat the horses properly, keep an eye on those things, and know that that is a trigger moving forward. What's her liver count at going into the Pegasus, into the Matron? Those are things that we need to answer before we race them. So Globetrotting, I think, will be an incredibly good 4-year-old for us. I'll play it alone. He's going to continue in the condition claimers. I think he'll do some good for us. We'll have some fun with him this fall and winter. Eventually, he will likely change hands. You're right. But we'll see when that is. Next, Miss Brampton Beast. She's almost ready to go. Same type of thing. I think she'll be a useful horse for us until somebody jumps up and buys her or claims her. Muscle Chrome will be likely. Her and Nancy Allison will race. I guess we could race him a couple more starts. Nancy Allison anyway. Muscle Chrome probably race into December, and then we'll try and get them both bred. Need Your Opinion was sold, but isn't going anywhere this week. She was sold from the current group that owns her to a much smaller group of those partners. The price was right. We had people that wanted to sell and people that didn't. So we worked out an agreement and everybody's happy. So Need Your Opinion will race in the Harvest Series coming up. Path of Totality. I suspect, this is twice now, maybe 3 times we raced her where she scoped very sick after. We're going to have to keep a better eye on that. I suspect from now on, when we get her ready to race, after she jogs the day before she races, I want her scoped. I don't want to keep racing this filly if she's got something wrong with her in her, if she's going to have allergies that are going to trigger this sickness. We need to be on top of that. So I talked to Tim about it. Probably race her 2 or 3 more times when we stop with this filly. I'd like her to make a little money because when we stop with her, we're going to clean that knee up, take that little chip out of that knee. And I think, again, a stronger, bigger, heavier Path of Totality could be a scary 4-year-old for us. She's very well bred. She's got the right idea. She's shown some real glimmers and flickers of being a good horse. And really, to be quite frank, anytime she raced bad, she had a very good reason to race bad. Made a break, got a bad trip, scope sick, come up sore. These are things that have plagued her in the past. So if we can get her to where she's not going to come up sore, we can keep an eye on her health and make sure she looks good. Make sure she looks good heading into her 4-year-old season. Stay on top of all those issues that have plagued her. I think we could have a very, very good horse here. So Path of Totality, 2 or 3 more starts left with her. Really Blue Chip, like to get her fired up for the winner and see what we got there. She's got a ton of paths to go. She's got, 2 wins? I guess she doesn't have a ton. She's got 1 win. She's got 1 win. So she can race in the numbers of 2 for quite a while. She gets a little bit of allowance because she's a 3-year-old. We'll see how effective she is on the track and then make decisions. If we change course along the way, then so be it. But I just want to see her get back to the races, so I'm excited to see that. Rooney Blue Chip, we'll race him a couple more times and sell him probably. Move him along. Spend that money. She raced good last week. She'll race, at some point I suspect she'll change hands also. She's a 3-year-old filly. It's going to be a decent 4-year-old. We'll see. We're not actively trying to sell her at this point, but we'll see what happens over the next month or so. Spirit of Dio's not going anywhere. I think this is going to be an incredible 4-year-old for us. She's got hopefully the Pegasus and then the Crossroads of America, and then she's shut down for the year. Another filly that might end up in Florida for the winter. Trafalgar, I'd love to see her put a ton of weight on this winter and come back good as a 4-year-old. See if we can attain that. And then our 2 boys, who are going to be our winter racers, we have multiple paths with them, is Watch Avenue and Zeb Sunshine, both in the same boat. I'll be back in a second to tell you all about the 2-year-olds, who's racing, what's going on, and what I suspect will happen moving forward. Be back in just a minute.